You've got to be confident enough to stand by your authentic tone of voice. Not everyone is confident in doing that.
Are you ready to level up your sales game? Welcome to OnBD with ALF, the podcast that brings you the best advice and success stories from industry leaders in media and advertising. Each episode, we tackle the challenges of new business to help you elevate your own sales strategy. If you're in business development and looking to sharpen your sales techniques, discover actionable insights, and stay ahead of the competition, you're in the right place. Tune in, subscribe, and get ready to take some notes with OnBD with ALF.
Welcome to another episode of OnBD with ALF. I'm Amanda Rosevear, General Manager of ALF Insight, and today I am joined by founder and MD of Street Agency and podcast host of her own from Marketing in the Madness, Katie Street. Hi, Katie.
Hello, Amanda. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Now, I've known you for quite a long time now, actually, Katie, thinking about it. And I know that you've got loads of great insight and information on kind of how to market yourself. And I'm sure we're going to get into that a little bit. But first of all, I'd actually like to start hearing a little bit more about you and your career, Katie. So tell me, let's have a little bit of an overview of where it all began to where you are now.
Yeah. Well, seeing as this is on BD and obviously all about business development, I guess my initial part of my career was focused on exactly that. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of listeners listening to this thinking the same. Like, I had no idea when I left school. Like, it was really hard. I don't know, maybe I wanted to be a TV presenter or something, but didn't have the time to, go and spend however many years at uni. I had had a slightly tough upbringing, so I had to move out of home quite young, and I needed some money, and I wanted to buy a flat, which I ended up doing at age 18. So I kind of accidentally fell into a job at quite a big publishing house called United Advertising because I was 17. I'd finished at college studying like a business NVQ because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then just fell in love with it. Like, I was one of the first employees at, well, you'll remember it for being Exchange and Mart. Now Auto Trader has kind of far overtaken it. But at the time, actually, we were fairly equal weighting. That probably shows how old I am. It was us, Exchange and Mart versus Auto Trader. We hated Auto Trader, obviously, because that's what happens in sales. And that was really the starting point for me. I fell in love with sales. I ended up being one of the trainers on the sales floor. It kind of opened my eyes to the world of advertising. I ended up moving to London and working for, at the time, EMAP on some of the mail titles like FHM, Empire, and just absolutely loved it. And then onwards from that, went to work brand side, so worked for some really big brands like Pernod Ricard, again, both always across both sales and marketing. I think I've got quite a good, and I don't think this happens that often, so probably did me a few favors in my career, quite a good eye for how to engage people through marketing, which a lot of, I guess, more salespeople that are a bit pushier salespeople don't always have. So my lens on the kind of psychology of marketing and how to get people to, buy into you has always been really important. So yeah, I've always loved working across brand, marketing, advertising, and then that took me to a world of working in agencies, which then landed me setting me up my own agency. So I've now been running my own business for 6 years, very focused on helping tech companies. So my clients are people like Shopify, Adobe, Stripe, Contentful, and we help them run very human-centered. And how I like to kind of frame it is people-powered marketing. It's a lot around events and content that truly get them to connect with their audience, because I think certainly in a world of AI and technology, that's the only real thing that we can trust nowadays. So I really truly stand by and believe in the fact that human-centered marketing is what will win.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start there then, actually, on people powered marketing. So I mean, what is it? Why is it so important?
I think for me, the days of overly branded, long written reports, white papers, content, they're not dead, but they can't live on their own, because people want to engage with people. If you take it all the way back, if you truly look at human behavior and psychology, we want to look someone in the eye and trust them. If you look at the content and how content performs and the rise of the influencer economy and why social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn even now doing a lot more with video have really grown in that space. It's because people want to connect with people. They don't want to connect with a faceless marketing team. So for me, that's always been what we've done at Street. And I think as AI and technology has become ever more present, and I bloody love AI and technology, by the way, I use it, but I think how you use it has to be really thought about, because if you just use it like everyone else does, then you're just going to be stuck in a sea of sameness. So I think because of how the world has evolved, it's actually become more important more quickly because people want to learn in a way that feels natural, human, and is fun. And that often is through events and engaging with other people. It's not through just reading lengthy reports or, probably nowadays chucking a lengthy report into ChatGPT and getting it to play it back to you. So I think, that for me is, it really kind of maps back to really basic human psychology, but so many people miss it and still spend lots and lots of time and effort, probably wasting lots of time and effort on creating, overly designed content that actually isn't going to capture their audience's attention anyway.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, one thing, because you've mentioned there, human-centric, it's about getting your face out there, making eye contact, that world of getting in front of people. And I know you do a lot through your podcast and, of course, through Street Agency. You're very good at kind of getting your personal brand out into the world as well. What do you think is the kind of the biggest challenge in that, actually, when it comes to personal branding as part of that?
Oh, I mean, there are so many challenges because you've got to know who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, what the problems are that are keeping them up at night, why they'll connect with you. You've got to show up in a way, to me, I think that feels authentically you. Like I don't like ChatGPT writing my content. I write my content myself because it sounds like me. Or the way I do use ChatGPT sometimes is I will talk to it and tell it to write it exactly as I've said it, and then I might edit it. So that's how I'll use it. I never, my ideas are mine. How I talk is me. And if you look at the content creators that are doing fantastically well, Stephen Bartlett, for instance, it's his language. You'll see how he writes is how he talks. That's really, really important. So there are so many barriers to entry. You've got to know who, why, what. You've got to be confident enough to, stand by your authentic tone of voice and show up, feeling like you. And not everyone is confident in doing that. Often the biggest barrier to entry is people also feeling a bit awkward doing it because until no one wants to watch themselves back. I mean, now I have got very used to it. I still hate it, but I'm much more used to it than most because I've been doing it. I started doing this and showing up on webinars within the first 2, 3 months of me launching my business because I knew how important it was. And then COVID hit, and I'm so glad that I did because it was that was how I attracted and won new clients. So I think the biggest thing probably for most people is to get some confidence with being on camera and, talking to camera and interviewing people. And it doesn't feel right for everyone. Like, not everyone is going to show up on day one and be totally polished. Like if I look back at what I was doing years ago, it's definitely not going to be, I'm not going to be showing up as well as I do today. I'm not going to be as good a podcast interviewer as I am today. I'm not going to, I've learned a lot from doing. So I think my my biggest advice to anyone is to just try. Just film some videos in your bathroom or bedroom or wherever you feel comfortable at home. Lounge doesn't have to be in the bathroom. Don't know why I say bathroom. So because I actually do film content in my bathroom sometimes, I find it easy to. I've got different places where I can put my phone. But I think, just start doing it, build that confidence. And also look at, not everyone, there are some fantastic influencers that aren't that comfortable on video and just post images or carousels and do a lot more written content. If that feels more natural to you, then you can do that. There are lots of people that digest content in different ways. There are lots of people that like to do start by doing something that feels natural, because it's going to be so much easier for you to get that muscle memory and that consistency if you do something that feels okay for you to do. And don't try and copy someone else. Don't try and be anyone else. Be authentically you. I often will say, because we do work with a lot of tech companies and help their teams and their people do this. I've had one of my clients recently ask me for some advice on, public speaking and things like that. Is just don't try and fake it. Be you. And if you feel really nervous and you're on stage, why not say, I feel really nervous. I hate doing this, because there'll probably be 70% of the audience that feel the same. And you'll actually, build rapport with them much more quickly because they can empathize with you. So just be real. Like, don't feel like you need to pretend that you're this perfect, polished presenter. You can literally be like, do you know what? I'm really bad at this. I hate it. It makes me eek. It makes me feel so awkward. I'm probably going to fluff my words, but I've got what I hope is something valuable to tell you. So I'm really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone and do it. And that is fine.
Yeah. It's practice as well, isn't
It's
it? You've got
better.
to,
It's better to do that. It's better to do
yeah,
that.
exactly. You mentioned an interesting point when we started talking about this, in terms of what you actually have to say as well.
Yes.
So, because I think there can be a lot of focus on, I know it would be good for both me and my business if I can be more active on something like LinkedIn, for example. But it's not just about views, is it? You've actually got to deliver some kind of value or insight outside of just who you are.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think the key things are you should be thinking about in terms of actually what you have to say?
Oh, I mean, there's a never-ending pot of content that you need to put out, or things that you need to talk about here. So first up, there's always I'm going to talk about the kind of percentages of types of content that I think people should be posting about. And then I'm going to talk about how you come up with your content pillars that should sit under these. So for me, first up, it's always give without expecting anything in return. So, valuable, helpful, insightful content, like I said earlier, the kind of things that are keeping your prospects up at night. So, think about who your audience is, what are the things that they're struggling to achieve, to do, to deliver within their role, within their business. And that's also important to think about. It's not just the business problems, it's often the individual's problems within their role as a CMO or a head of digital or a chief technology officer, or whoever it is that that you want to capture their attention. What are the problems that they have right now and that you can help them solve? So kind of mapping that out, and I would say 60% of your content, at least 60% of your content, should purely be thought leadership content, talking about those problems and providing hopefully solutions. If you haven't got solutions for those problems, you probably shouldn't be doing the job that you're doing, because you need, if you can't solve those problems, you've got a business problem, and that's something else. I'm solving the marketing problem here, not the business problem. So if you find, oh my gosh, I can't solve any of those problems, then you probably need to look at your business model. But essentially, that's my kind of first piece of advice is, and there's how you come up with those content pillars we'll talk about in a little bit, but have majority of your content talking about the things that are keeping people up at night, and structure those at the beginning of your content. Make sure you have a kind of clickbaity first line that's going to position that problem, and that they're going to be able, they're going to read and go, oh my gosh, yes, I have that problem, I need to keep reading, or I need to keep, or if it's a video, I need to keep listening. That's the first thing. Then the other two types of content, which are really important, and people usually put this second one as their most important piece of content, which I think is totally wrong, is case studies, or what I like to call prove it pieces. So people often go, oh, we can't do this marketing around that because we haven't got a case study. No, rubbish. You can still talk about what you know. Like, you don't have to have a written case study on a website in order to talk about the problems that you help your clients solve. But it is really important to go, right, I push out all this thought leadership content about how to solve these problems. Oh, here, I'm now going to have some more different types of content proving that I've done that for someone before and delivered some ROI. So it is important. You can cross those two pieces of content together. Often content that I will post, I'll reference, oh, we're doing this for this person and this is what we've achieved, or blah, blah, blah. But basically you need to make sure that you can prove that what you're talking about you have done. And the third one, which actually, depending on, a lot of my tech clients probably do this too much, but I think a lot of agencies don't do it enough, is make it easy for people to buy you. Productize your offering, or have something that is easy to buy. A good friend of both of ours calls these gateway products, Ryan Hall. But have something that is, a step into working with you. So for me, we do fantastic events focused around lead generation. So C-suite dinners. They can sometimes be, we try to do things a bit differently at Street. So much more like experiences where we're getting people to collaborate and do things together. We've done perfume making in Paris and all sorts of wild and wonderful things. But we have event packages which are really easy for people to buy. You can go, right, okay, we want to do a C-suite dinner for these people. We do everything for them. That will cost them 30 grand or whatever it might be. So that's a foot in the door without them having to commit to a whole year's worth of spend with us, or 100, 500 grand, whatever it might be. But it gives them a foot in the door with us to actually, start experiencing how we work, get to know us, work with us deliver on something for them. So, but you need to be able to market all three of those things. So those three content pillars you have to fill in terms of the type of the content. And then the other thing that is super important is then, I guess, mapping back and understanding, what you help them with. So the content pillars that need to sit underneath that thought leadership element needs to be current, it needs to be relevant. So the way that we tend to do this, we'll do some desk-based research. That's definitely something ChatGPT and other
Yeah.
LLMs can help you with nowadays. But, you need to instruct your LLMs well to get good research, but do some research. Like, this is what we do. These are the type of clients we work with. These are the problems we're helping them solve. These are this is my ICP. These are the people that I would like to be. ICP, for those that don't know that word, I'm sure, ideal client profile, is, these are the people that we want to work with. These are their job titles. You can even upload it all in a spreadsheet to ChatGPT and ask it to tell you what are the current challenges they're facing. Is there anything happening in the current economic market? Go and look at research from Deloitte Digital, McKinsey, whatever it is, wherever you usually consume your own insights to inform yourself, and check what those kind of current challenges are. Look at the things that you do, which are the ones that you marry up the most, and those become your content pillars. Like, that it should be that easy. And ideally, if you can latch onto something, great. Like, as you can probably tell from the beginning of this podcast, for me, that's around all I bang on about most of the time is, human-centered, people-powered content, marketing and events, because that's what I truly believe works. I think, I can have quite polarizing opinions about, not thinking that traditional content works anymore, which people also polarizing content does capture people's attention. It makes people engage. They want to argue on your posts. That's great from a from a the algorithm's point of view. They want to see those interactions. They're going to prioritize your content more. So there's so much that goes into it. I could speak for hours on it because there's so many different ingredients, but hopefully that gives a good starting point in terms of where to get started, so that you actually put the right content out there and you're brave enough to start doing it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You've got to identify a challenge that the audience that you're seeking has got. You've got to be able to talk about a little bit of kind of proof of concept, although obviously you don't have to have 1,000 case studies based on what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Some kind of gateway that allows people to get a feel and an introduction to you without a bigger commitment. And of course, you've got to tie that back together in terms of your problem solving for the problem that you've identified in the first place. So that's a very nice, clear journey, and I can see how that would work as a typical kind of flow. How do you get in front of the right people, though? What do you use for your audience getting in front of street? What are your main kind of platforms?
Well, gosh, I mean, this is the thing that you've got to create all of this. You can't just then hope that, that the people are going to come and find you. I mean, they will to a certain extent. You will get some organic reach, but that's not enough. You've got to get smart. So we use some quite clever automation tools now, which we moved to probably 3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago. We're probably a fairly early adopter. There's a LinkedIn automation platform called Meet Alfred. Have you heard of that?
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with it. There are others, but this is my favorite. We did use another one for a while called WeConnect. But essentially, what it enables us to do is let's just say I'll give an example. So I've produced some lovely content. I have posted it on LinkedIn. It's not. I mean, luckily do have quite a lot of followers in my space anyway. But if I didn't, I'd go, right, okay, great. I'm posting it to people, but I don't have enough eyeballs on it. What Meet Alfred enables us to do is to use a platform like ALF Insights, and there are others, data platform, to go to pull the data of our ICP, or you can just do a basic search in Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. And in fact, you can even just do a LinkedIn search now, I think, on Meet Alfred. You don't even need Sales Navigator, which is even smarter. That will enable you to essentially refine that list, make sure that the job titles are right, the businesses are right, they're the people that you want to be your future clients, they are your prospects, they're in your ICP, and you then automate a journey to outreach to them. So, for instance, for the kind of journeys that we like, do at Street, we want to keep them really, really human. We want it to sound like it's, bespoke to them, and it's not a horrible automated journey. And that's why, and I don't think it is cheating. It's giving us scale. What the platform enables us to do is give it a journey to connect with these people. So step one, for instance, we might tell it to like one of their recent posts. Step two, an hour later, or in the same step sometimes, we might tell it to view their profile. We then might ask it to like another post, and then we might ask it to send a connection request message. For me, I always, I've got a podcast. We've got some great partnerships with big conferences like Shop Talk and the Retail Tech Show, etc. So usually send an upfront message with the connection request saying, "Hey, me and the Marketing the Madness podcast, my Marketing the Madness podcast are on tour. We're going to we're going to be in London, Paris, da da da." And I've recently interviewed, I don't know, the head of digital from Christian Dior and I don't know, Holland and Barrett, whoever it might be. I thought it might be a good time to connect, and maybe you'd consider coming on as a future guest or something like that. If I'm looking to connect with brands, that is. And hopefully they accept my connection request. And sometimes, literally, that will start a conversation. Like, I literally have had that this week with Nike, who now Nike isn't a normal client for me, but they're one of the partnership marketing team want to talk to us about doing some events for them. So literally, it's that simple. I'm not pushing anything to them. If they don't engage with that, I may then later, I may have said, "Oh, hope you find some of my content interesting. Oh, thought you might like this short clip from the episode where I interviewed the head of digital from Holland and Barrett, and she talks about the digital transformation journey they're on," and literally just share something, and then that's it. Then they just start engaging with my content. They'll start messaging me. They'll start liking my content. They're engaged. They're seeing what I'm doing. At some stage, I mean, if you do this right and you've got a decent following, like I'm at, over 20,000 followers on LinkedIn, I don't need to be too pushy. But if you're starting out, you may need to, try and start a few more conversations. Just making sure that you're doing it in the right way, not in the wrong way. For me, again, it's about human behavior. So we use tools like that. It means that you need to have good data sources. Ideally, you can, I know Amanda, probably you guys do a lot more ABM than we do. We're more about, the kind of marketing reach, engagement, and, we're not necessarily spending loads and loads of time researching each company and then going after them because we don't need to at this stage. But you may need to do that if you haven't got as many, if you've not got the scale when you start. But it's literally that simple and it's really not that hard. But there is, the gun, Meet Alfred or whatever, tool you decide to use is the gun. It's only as good as what you put in it. So if you write, you will all get and receive crappy outreach messages from really shitty salespeople that literally I just delete and ignore. So you've got to think about how you're writing things. Don't write things that are pushy, salesy, rubbish, shoving this to the top of your mailbox. Hi, mom. That's another one that does my head in. So yeah, just think about how you're writing your content and do your research, I think.
Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it, to be seen? But I think this is why it's so important, and I wanted to talk about it because AI comes into this a little bit. There's an overload, isn't there, of stuff being sent. So, me personally, I'm getting so many emails that are just the same email. They're different, but they feel the same. I'm obviously in a lot of sequences. I'm obviously in a lot of automation. Um, I have 2 email addresses with different surnames. And so I can feel when it's happening because I'm getting 2 emails every
Yeah.
time from everybody. It's overpopulating.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to be seen in the
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
So, this kind of people-powered marketing, as you put it, this human-centric or getting your face in front of everybody else seems to be, a really strong way to get your head out of the sea of stuff at the moment. So I can completely see why it can work for business development and that exposure, that build up. When you do finally send that email or that message, you might just get noticed because of all the work that you've been doing around it. And in terms of street, I see it on LinkedIn. You have different people in the team posting themselves, writing about what they're doing. So from a company perspective, is this like a marketing team activity, or is this something that every salesperson should be looking at individually?
Do you know what? I guess it depends on the shape of your of your business. Like it really is dependent on who you have, who's comfortable doing it. Because not everyone will be. I push all my team to do it. I want us to do it more. I'm glad that you've seen we are doing it because I sometimes think we're not doing enough. So I do. And I hope they follow my lead and I really encourage them to. Like we had a photo shoot in the office all day that was supposed to be for 2 hours on Monday and being like 4 or 5 hours. And we're going to be doing some really cool stuff. So do give us a follow and keep an eye out. I like to push the team to do things a bit different, but it depends on the makeup of your team. I personally feel like it's hard when it's a salesperson sometimes because if it's a salesperson you feel like you're going to be sold to, and it does put some people off. But actually, I think anyone can do it. If you're ideally, you want people who've got the insights, who understand stuff, who have got something of value to share, to be showing up. Like you can't, you've got to think about what the narrative is, what you want to talk about. And it is a little bit harder when you're doing it as a business for your business, because you also have to know that people are going to move on and you're not going to keep that forever. And they're building their own personal profile as well as helping your business. But I think that is the future. It was really interesting. I don't know, Amanda, did you see the LinkedIn PayPal job ad that went viral a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I
So
did.
they'd advertised for PayPal's head. No, it was head of CEO content for PayPal. And everyone was like, no, they made a spelling mistake. It's head of SEO content. It wasn't. I actually went and did some research and found that there was someone, and they were then employing for another role for head of CEO social media, or no, it wasn't exactly that, but something along those lines. PayPal are a tech company, they are seriously investing in this. They realize how important personal brand is. These roles were being advertised, just to kind of give you an idea of the importance of them, between $150,000 and $275,000 annual salary. So they are investing heavily in their CEO and their leadership team having this kind of thought leadership style content. It is the future. Those that don't do it will fall behind, to my mind. It's not going away. People do not want to just see an ad. They want to feel like they can connect with the businesses that they're working with. It used to be more important for agencies than it was tech companies. I think that it's becoming more of an even playing field now. Tech companies and any kind of B2B business or other. Like, that's why brands use influencers. People trust people. If I see like most of the stuff I buy in my personal life is because an influencer that I trust and like has introduced me to the brand, and I'm like, oh yeah, they like that, I like that, it looks nice on them, it might make
Mm.
me look nice. Like it's the same thing, right? And UGC, recommendations on and B2B influencers are becoming more and more ever present. In fact, I've actually got a meeting myself. An agent has approached me recently.
Okay.
I guess I'm a bit more of a, I don't know, micro influencer of what I am at this stage. But it's a thing. Like, it's not going away. It's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just think if you're not creating that human-centered content and you're not thinking about it yet, you're gonna start very quickly, you're gonna start getting in trouble if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just a little thought, thinking about the future of sales and
Yes.
how the sales industry changes, and this is obviously around BD. I the answer might be no, but have you seen how people starting out their BD career, maybe slightly younger, maybe the Gen Zs,
Mm.
of how they sell differently, right? They target people differently, they use different platforms. What are you seeing from them in terms of how they're taking on people powered marketing?
Yeah, I guess, my team aren't, so I own a lot of the business development side of things, but my team are all involved. They're just more running the campaigns for clients rather than for street, although they do help with it. I think for me, that human connection for them is even more important, and they're so used to engaging via video. So if you think about how they've grown up, the content that they've consumed pre, being in the business world, they've grown up on TikTok, Snapchat. How they engage is through social content. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, it's only gonna become more. Like, that's how they want to buy. That's how they're used to, buying on TikTok Shop or, finding the things that interest them in life. They've learnt that a lot more than I have or you have or anyone else who's, millennial or older, because we didn't have that when we were younger. So I think naturally they are gonna lean more towards that. I definitely feel like, you know, you'll be more au with this than I will. But, they don't wanna pick up the phone as much. My daughter is 17, and I'm like, "Just phone your friend and tell her we're parking outside and we're gonna pick her up." Like, they're almost a bit more nervous to pick up the phone, so I definitely feel like there's some education and work to do there. Um, Events, my team, who are majority in their 20s, are brilliant. They're so good in person. So I think in person, social content, video, they're probably gonna be better than a lot of us. But the picking up the phone thing, but maybe phones won't be as important. Maybe we'll, just voice note people or send them videos. I don't know. Things are changing all the time, aren't they? So, but that would be the main thing that I have noticed. And yeah, it'd be a shame if people don't pick up the phone because it does make life a lot easier. Means of communication are evolving all the time. I do think that's one area that I would like to get my team more confident with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something always to pay attention to, isn't it? Because those people that are, say, for example, in their early 20s going through their career, they are tomorrow's decision makers. They are the ones you're going to be wanting to get in front of. So everything you start doing now is also building up to that moment, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so yeah. Great. Loads of stuff. loads of stuff you've given me, Katie.
Yay!
I need to after this record it. I need to get on LinkedIn. I need to make a video. I need to think about what I'm going to talk about. Are there any other strategies that you want to point out to succeed in building your personal brand, or anything in particular that you can highlight in terms of what is high performing kind of content? You know, what
Yeah.
works, what
Oh my
doesn't.
gosh. I mean, there is so much. I would say, definitely video is in its infancy to a certain extent on LinkedIn in particular. So I find I'll get more impressions from posting an image with some text. But again, when you're thinking about images that you're going to post, eyes to camera, close up of the face, you looking at the camera, like selfies, like it doesn't. I guess the barrier to entry for me is low. People do not want almost like, I was saying we had a photo shoot on Monday and the photos will be lovely and beautiful, and I will be using them. But sometimes my content that's taken on my phone performs a lot better. So again, in terms of going back to the beginning, barriers to entry, actually, people want authentic, real content. So if your content's too polished, and if that means you're always getting a photographer in, you're always, recording in a really beautiful podcast studio, people will lose trust with it because it's too polished. Actually, the raw, real, basic, taking a selfie on your phone, that annoyingly, that content actually performs better for me than, than the other stuff. But I need to have all of it because it's the whole picture. The other stuff makes me look professional. It shows, the behind the scenes. It shows that I have a professional point. It's important. But I think if you have too much polished content, actually it can work against you. So yeah, don't worry about just, taking a selfie on your phone. That actually is a really easy thing that all of us could do right now, with or without makeup, if you wear makeup, and just do it. Because sometimes I think we give ourselves so many excuses. Like some of the best content I've done is me wearing no makeup sat in my car.
Mm.
So, and there's none of us can say we can't do that. We can all take a selfie in the car with no makeup on. Like you may not want to, and I might not like that picture of myself as much as I like some others, but it's doable. So I think that for me is actually a really big tip. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be really basic, and actually it will probably perform better. There's loads of other things that I could say, but I'll probably end up, overrunning and staying with you till, late in
That's
the
fine.
evening.
So eye contact, authentic, be you.
Yes.
Do you know
Keep it
what?
real.
Thinking about like just LinkedIn, I mean, I don't have 20,000 followers, not yet, Katie. That
You
would be
will
the
have.
dream.
You're on
I
the
will
way.
have. But thinking about best content I've done was actually not even related to ALF. I think it was when I was doing my boxing last year
Yes.
with Media
Yeah, I
Fight Night.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, just, me getting punched in the face. People loved it and had lots to say. So,
But again, that's actually really important. I didn't talk about that earlier, is, people want to know who you are. So like, if I just only ever posted about my podcast, it just becomes like a podcast publishing platform, and that's not what it's for. People also want to get to know who you are and feel like they can connect with you and that they understand you. And people like personal success stories. So it's important to layer all of that in to your, I I actually don't plan my content that much. I literally apart from the podcast content, which obviously the podcast comes out on a Tuesday, I post the content from the podcast on a Tuesday, and then I'll probably pick another clip for later in the week. But I literally post about what I'm thinking about right now, or like something that's happened to me that week that's made me think, oh, like, or like a trend I've seen on LinkedIn or whatever it might be. Like, so also, obviously plan the types of things that you need to talk about, but talking about current things that are happening also really will help you, and talking about things that are currently happening to you, because there'll be people that can empathize with it. That there's so much that goes into it. It's really hard doing, like, because not everyone gets it. For me, it feels quite natural and easy to like go, oh, well, I should write about this and this is how I should structure it. And I appreciate it doesn't, not, it's not for everyone, but I think, yeah, give it a go, try, don't worry about it being too perfect. And look at what other you can. I'm not saying don't copy them, but do look at, take influence from other people that are doing well with their content, because it will help you understand how to structure it and things like that.
yeah, look at the content you like, because that should inspire what
Exactly.
you're doing. Yeah, because if you like it,
Exactly.
then they're doing it right.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
And just do it must be the best advice. Don't get
Yeah.
in your head, because also if it doesn't perform well, that basically means no one's seen it anyway. So what were you panicking about?
I love that. I actually said that to someone recently, and I was like, "Yeah, the thing is, if it's done shit, then no one's going to have seen it, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter."
exactly. Exactly. Right. So Katie, I've got some quick fire questions for you.
Amazing.
If you're ready. I say quick
I'm
fire,
ready.
they never seem to be quick, but here we go. So, Katie, what's your favourite thing about business development or sales?
I love meeting people, so I think it's the energy and the learnings that I get from speaking to prospects and people that are potentially going to become future clients.
Brilliant. And what do you think that something is there something that nobody's talking about right now when it comes to sales and marketing?
Something that we don't talk about enough is how annoying it is when you don't win. Because I think as business development people, we're so passionate. We truly believe in what we're selling is their best solution. And you know, it not everyone finds it. I find it quite easy to pick myself up, and I just think, oh, they're so stupid for not picking me, and they'll probably be back talking to me in 6 months because the other people will do a crap job, and more often than not, by the way, that does happen. Um, so I think it's more like it takes a lot. It's you've got to have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and I don't think we always talk about that enough because it does, getting punched in the face. Not quite, but it does take lots. I think maybe we don't give ourselves enough pats on the back for that.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Um, so if you could go back in time to your past self when you were starting out, what would be the one piece of advice that you'd give yourself now?
Big question. Um, be louder. If I can be louder. But don't be afraid to speak up because I think I was always quite good at this, but I probably could have done it more. And definitely this is the advice that I give my daughter is if you don't show up and you don't say it and you're not seen, you're not going to get chosen because you're invisible. So my biggest piece of advice to my younger self would be to put yourself out there more. And I always did anyway, to be honest, but to put myself out there more, be louder, speak up in meetings when even if you think people might think you're wrong, ask the questions, give your ideas, because if you don't, you are invisible.
Okay. So be loud, be seen,
Be
I
loud, be seen.
suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And the
Yeah.
same goes for your content, right? If you're not posting, no one's going to see you. So
Yeah.
you're not going to get found.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the same with whether you want a promotion, whatever it is, if you don't ask for it, most businesses don't just give you a promotion, but they should do. I think they should congratulate fantastic performance. But most of the time, you don't get it if you don't ask. So ask for what you're worth for, because otherwise, there'll be someone else that is louder than you that isn't better than you, they're just louder than you, that is going to get your pay rise, get your job, win that client just because you didn't bother speaking up.
Yeah. Good advice. Um, so in your experience, what makes a good salesperson great?
Making a good salesperson great is, to me, someone that isn't trying to sell, but is trying to solve. And this is like a mantra that I've always had throughout my career is like solving, not selling. Stop trying to be a pushy salesperson. Like I probably can't name them, but a platform similar to you, Amanda, trying to sell us something recently. And I literally didn't buy them because the salesperson was so pushy and I felt being pushed into a corner. I wanted to pick the best solution, and they may well have been the best solution, but I literally didn't buy them because the salesperson was too pushy. So I think a good salesperson is someone that is helpful, that is kind, that that also steps away if the solution isn't right. That is genuinely giving you insights and things that help you out. And I think your team are very much in that space, the ones that I've worked with, like the lovely Naz. And don't a good salesperson doesn't try to sell; they try to solve. That is literally it for me.
Yeah. I always think people, I suppose it depends what you're selling, doesn't it? I mean, ALF, for example, is a subscription business. So our renewals are really important, right? It's not actually
Yeah.
new business. It's the fact that we retain
Yeah.
clients is what the most important thing for us is. So when you think about solving a problem, you're only going to renew if you're fulfilling what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's likewise with, with agency relationships as well. You're only going to retain that client and continue winning them in the future if you're able to really understand what they're doing, what they need, and fulfill that. So that's good advice on how to be great, Katie. Just a couple more.
Yeah.
If your career was a movie, what would its title be?
Oh my God. Just fucking do it. There you go.
Yeah. Love it. In cinemas soon.
Yeah, here comes.
Exactly. And then last one, I want to know what your hype song is, Katie. Before a nice
Oh,
big pitch, what's playing in that ear
yeah.
to get you in the mood?
Do you know what? I haven't actually played this for ages, but I used to do it all the time. Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
Oh, nice.
Legendary song, and like
Yeah,
totally maps into that mood and that zone. So yeah, Don't Stop Me Now.
gets you in a good
That was
spot.
always when we had a big pitch, that would always be my like energy giving
Yeah,
song before. So yeah, love that.
fantastic. I'll give it a listen straight after that. Um,
Yay!
Now to go against that, we're out of time, so I'm going to have to stop.
Yeah, do stop me
But
now.
but Katie, that was great. So many tips. I really hope anyone listening gets on it. Get your face in front of people. People-powered marketing is the way forward. And if you haven't listened to Marketing in the Madness yet, give that a listen too. So yeah, we can leave it there. Thank you so much, Katie. Speak soon, and we'll be back with another episode next month.
Amazing. Thank you, Amanda.
And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your colleagues and friends. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next month with more expert advice and success stories. See you next time.